Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. So today is my 100th Petrol Ped video, which I still find difficult to believe. So if you follow me on social media, you might have seen my post midweek. I thought I would do a Q&A for my 100th video. And then yesterday I got the coolest email from Aston Martin Chichester. They said, look, you're doing a Q&A video, why don't you come and film it in Aston Martin Chichester? So I'm currently in the kind of VIP room where you can choose the various trim levels of your Aston Martin, and they've got really cool things like this lying around. So what I'm going to do, Q&A with a difference, is I've got keys to all the cars in the showroom, and I'm going to hop in each car and answer different questions. I've got a big list of questions, answer different questions from each car, and also at the same time show you around. I have some very cool things that I'm allowed to do. So why don't we start looking through the questions, start looking at the cars. I've just got this very nice cup of coffee to drink first, but then we'll get cracking. So here we are in our first stunning car of the day, this absolutely beautiful V12 Vantage S Coupe. The interior spec of this car is beautiful, Alcantara everywhere, blue stitching, stunning exterior paintwork. So we're in here. I've got my first couple of questions to answer. So I'm going to kind of cover off a couple. So the reason I wanted to start in this one, I've got a question from Elliot Steele Photography. God, I just have another Aston starting up. What's the best looking car I've driven so far on Petrol Ped? And I thought I would sit in the V12 Vantage S Coupe because for me, my favourite looking car I drove so far since I've started Petrol Ped was the V12 Vantage S Roadster. I just thought that was beautiful. I love Aston Martins anyway. And then I guess similar question, I've got two people asked the same question actually. Harry9708 on Instagram and Darren Barsby both asked pretty much what was the best car I've driven or my favourite car I've driven, and for me that's a really easy one, Porsche GT3 RS. I got to drive that at Silverstone on track and it was just absolutely stunning, totally blew me away. So that's enough questions for this car. However, I have this, and this is the key for this car. So it would be very rude of me not to put the emotion control unit into this car and now I can't rev it too much because I'm in a showroom, but oh, stunning. So let's move on to the next car. Hold myself back anymore. Now, any of you who know anything about Aston Martins will know I've just got into a very special car because this is one of only 100 GT12s in the world, and it's a very special car. And I thought it would be a good place to answer the next couple of questions because I quite like these. It took me some thinking about. I've got my piece of paper here because I'm old school. So again, Elliot Steele Photography, this is the second part to his question, was if I had £500,000, what car would I buy? Well, or what garage would I buy? So I had a really good think about this, about supercars and dailies and those types of things. So I guess the The first thing, supercar-wise, I think I would probably go for a 650S McLaren Spider, and I'm going to allow myself about £250,000 for that. Daily for me, I would have a Range Rover Sport SVR. I'm going to allow about £100,000 for that. I know I might be pushing the, struggling on some of these. Then I need a daily for Mrs. Petrol Ped, so we'd probably get rid of the S4 and have an RS6 Performance Avant, because I think they're very cool. And then I've got a little bit of money left over, because I reckon about 90 grand for the RS6. So I've then got, I'm going to spend about 50 grand on a Caterham 620R, so track day car, or I might get the 620S maybe. And then I reckon in my accounting I've got about 10 grand left over, so you just got to have a Land Rover Defender. A little short wheelbase Defender, and that would be that. But we are sat in a GT12, and I know exactly what you want to do, because guess what? I have the key. So that means only one thing. That means that I'm allowed to start it. So this car's currently up for sale for £430,000. So what I'm going to try and do, a bit related to that question, is I reckon I can get cars I sit in today in excess of 1 million quid's worth of car. So this is a good place to start. 430 grand. So foot on the brake. The emotion control unit, which is the glass topped one, and I'm basically going to stick it in here and oh my goodness me. That's outrageous. I probably need to turn it off now, otherwise they're all going to wonder what's going on. Wow. Wow. That is a very, very special thing. Very special. Now then, let's go on to answer some more questions. So I'm now sat in a Vanquish, a very, very beautiful one at that, and the smell of leather in here is just beautiful. So let's get on to some more questions. First question then off Instagram from the prison lawyer, my mate. Do you think you will ever do a rally like Gumball 3000 or official dub run? And if so, what would I drive if I did? Would it be comfort or performance? So my answer to that is I would love to do something like that. Obviously the cost of doing something like Gumball's huge. I know they do there's cheaper cost ones like Scum Run, which a friend of mine did last year, which looked like a really good time. So yes, I would love to do one. If I did one, I'd have the most performance-oriented supercar I could find. I'd have to borrow one because I don't own one, but yes, I would love to do one. Maybe a Ferrari or McLaren would be very, very nice. Next question, Motor Elements, again off Instagram. Could you tell us what events you'll be attending this year? Well, I live really close to Goodwood. Those of you who follow my channel know I kind of cover lots and lots of Goodwood stuff. So all the main Goodwood events, starting off with members meeting, which isn't that long away actually, which would be really cool. Then Festival of Speed and Revival. I'm also going to try and cover a lot of the track days that go on. So there's 4 Saywell track days this year, and there's always amazing cars turn up to those. Harwood's group always do a fantastic range of track days, so I'll turn up to those and hopefully maybe get out on track or do some test drives, which would be really cool. And I want to go to a couple of others. So I did Breakfast at Brooklands a couple of weeks ago. They're going to be running the next one of those in April, so I'm going to go to that. I might go to Wilton House to one of their events. And then just I'm open to kind of car events. I'm going to be doing the Spring Sprint in Ruby again. I'm also going to be doing some more auto solos, which would be really cool. And then the really big one from Minis anyway is Minis Takeover Goodwood is going to happen for the second time. So that will be happening on the 3rd of November. So they're the events that I plan to go to. So anyway, I reckon we need another Aston Martin. Let's go and find another one. Okay, so here we go. Well, this is a V8 Vantage S Coupe in the most beautiful colour. I mean, my camera won't do it justice at all. Absolutely stunning. So let's get some more questions answered then. So first up from Sam Nan on Instagram, best and worst stroke most disappointing cars I've driven on Petrol Ped. I'm going to cheat for the best car. I think I've already said in a previous question, GT3 RS was amazing. But also I want to chuck in there the F-Type SVR, because I drove that on road. I found it a really usable car, beautiful thing. And the V12 Vantage S Roadster that I drove. I'm hard torn between those two for the best car I've driven on road. So they're the best car. Most disappointing one, I haven't been massively disappointed recently, but I guess the big one for me was I drove the KN e-hybrid S, and I just was a bit disappointed at that, mainly because I didn't really get the hybrid thing. So that's probably my most disappointing one. And then final one in this car, Ross Mac 2. What's your favourite 80s hot hatch, and what's your favourite current hot hatch? So 80s is dead easy for me. I had a Mark 1 Fiesta, and my dream car was the Mark 1 XR2. I know there were better hot hatches in the 80s, but I just still think that was a mega car, and they're stupid money now as well. The current one, well, I'm currently trying to do a series review of all the new hot hatches. If you've seen my Ford Focus RS review, that was the first one I've done, and I'm trying to review all of its contemporaries. So I'm going to be hopefully doing AMG A45, Audi RS3, Honda Civic Type R. I'm going to do the 275 Cup S Megane. And then at the end of all of that, I'll tell you which one's my favourite. But I have to say, having done the Focus RS first, the others are going to have to really be on their game to beat that, because that car was absolutely mega. So let us go and find another Aston to answer some more questions. What have we got next? Well, this is the opulent luxury of a DB9 GT, and it's a convertible as well. Absolutely stunning spec inside this car. The smell of leather's amazing. I've never driven a DB9 before, actually. I quite like to do so. Just a big, nice tourer. Very, very cool. So let's have a few more questions then. Ollie T555 Automotive. If I were to replace the two cars I own with anything I've driven so far on Petrol Ped, what would that be? One is very easy, so I would replace the S4 with an RS6. What a car! I'm so chuffed. I've wanted to drive an RS6 cool. for a long time. And I'd probably opt for an F-Type SVR. And the first important test is the day-to-day, what does it look like in my garage usable test? Supercar madness, basically. So that would be those two. That Camo Punto, do you prefer to drive diesel or petrol cars? Careful on the answer, as a rebrand to diesel ped doesn't have the same ring to it. Well, I'm a big petrol fan, I'm afraid. I find the engines rev more easily, they sound better. That said, I have driven some pretty biblical diesel cars. The SQ7 Audi I drove was diesel, and that went like stink. And I've got a very cool diesel next week because I'm going to do the new KN Turbo, the KN S diesel, which should be very cool. And then one more from in here. Oh, I wonder who asked this. On Instagram from Aston Chichester. What's your favourite Aston Martin dealer in all the land, plus your favourite drive of 2016, hashtag V12 Vantage S? Let me think about that one. While I'm thinking, let's go and find another car. arguably saving the best till last. So this is a DB11, firstly, it's the interior spec of this car is just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So this leads me very nicely on to my next question from FDY on Instagram. What cars am I most looking forward to driving this year? Well, the first one is this car. So I'm in conversation with the guys here at Aston Martin Chichester. It's literally just a case of getting a date in the diary of when I can get this car. They've got another demonstrator coming in which will make it logistically much easier. This thing's been so busy doing customer test drives. So DB11 coming to Petrol Ped very, very soon, and I cannot wait for that. Other cars that I'm pretty confident I'm going to get, it's just again a case of time. Tesla Model X, the new Land Rover Discovery 5 and the new Audi S4 are all cars that I'm talking to about getting. It's just a case of physically when they arrive. As soon as they arrive, I can get my hands on them. So that's very, very cool. And then the other question was, any ideas on what will replace Ruby Roadster one day? To be honest, I can't see me changing my car this year, just from a financial point of view, because I want to make sure my next car is really what I'd like. On my list of cars that I would really like to look at, I think it's no secret I love the F-Type, a V8 F-Type, or an R8. The other car, I'm quite intrigued by, a Lotus Evora 400. I haven't driven one, but I have to drive one. So that's cars I'm looking forward to drive that I know are coming. Next question, such a lovely place to do a Q&A in here, from DaMX5 on Instagram. If I could create a perfect car using parts from different manufacturers, what would it be? I think this is a brilliant question. So I had over a cup of tea in bed this morning, I had a long hard think about this. So what I've gone for is I'd have the engine out of the GT3 RS, because that thing is unbelievable. Red lines at 9,000 RPM. If I couldn't have that, I'd have an Aston V12 from the Vantage S Roadster, because that thing just sounds brilliant. So one of those two engines. Chassis, I'd take the carbon tub from the McLaren series, the 650S carbon tub. Exhaust noise, I'd probably take the exhaust noise from an F-Type SVR, because that thing just made an amazing noise. Closely followed by an R8 V10 Plus, has to be said. Seats, I'd have the seats out the F-Type because I just thought they were lovely. Dash, if I was being sensible, I'd have the Audi Virtual Cockpit dash, because that thing is fantastic. If I was being out there, I'd get Pagani to do the dash and the interior, because they just do interiors. Having said that, sat in the most beautifully spec'd DB11, this interior is amazing. Gearbox, if I wasn't having a stick shift, I'd have a PDK Porsche gearbox. And then exterior styling, I'd either have that done by Aston Martin, because I just think, well, look at what we've seen today, they just make beautiful cars, or McLaren. So that would be my, in terms of my perfect hybrid of all the different, I love that question, brilliant question. And then the last question from in here, from Ros Greenwood, how do you ask your wife for another Caterham car and stay married? Ros, if you know the answer to that, as you are very, very good friends with my beautiful wife, please let me know, because if I knew, I'd have another Caterham and I'd still have a wife. But I don't have a Caterham, but I am still married, which is good. So maybe one day I'll have another Caterham. I love that car to bits. But anyway, so great question. Thanks, Ros. Right, let's go and find our final Aston Martin. Bit of deja vu, I'm afraid. We are back in the GT12. Look, when anybody gives you the keys to a GT12, you've got to kind of sit in it more than once. So I thought we'd kind of finish up in here. Only got a couple more questions left, you'll be pleased to know probably. So a similar question from Ian Cross and from Viv is basically, have I had any thoughts about updating my title reel that runs at the beginning of my videos? The simple answer to that is yes. Now, I created those myself using Windows Movie Maker about 2 months before I started my channel, and I know it looks massively dated and very, very rubbish now, and I know that, so I've actually been working with someone to get that done, and we finished it. So I thought you might like to take a look. So here's the new sizzle reel for Petrol Ped. Roll the titles. What do you think? Any good? So the old ones will be retired. They have now done their century. They've had their 100th video. So from now on, we'll be using those new titles. So hopefully you like them. Put any comments down below if you think they're any good. Last couple of things, just from what else I've got planned this year. I think we've talked about my Hot Hatch series. What I also have, I have got a supercar driving day that I won in a charity auction last year, where I get to drive 5 supercars on track. I'm not so sure how much filming we're going to be allowed to do in that. I'm not sure how much track time I'll get, but it should be good. So I will hopefully be bringing you that. As I said, I'm desperate to drive my first McLaren, Ferrari, and don't forget I'd like to drive a Lamborghini as well. I'd love to do some more collaborations. I've got a couple of other YouTubers that I'm talking to about collaborating with. I'd love to do some collaborations with some of the really big guys, so Mr. JWW or Seen Through Glass or Supercars of London or Shmee. If you're listening, just get in touch. But I will do some collaborations with some of my sort of similar sized channels, which should be good coming up actually. And then hopefully this year we will hit 10,000 subscribers. I'm over 3,000 subscribers now. I need to increase my growth rate to hit 10,000 this year by quite a bit actually. But if I do, then there's a bottle of Remy Martin Louis XIII vintage cognac coming my way from Mrs. Petrol Ped, and I'd definitely do a video about drinking that. So that brings me to the end. Now, I did say at the beginning, I reckon I could get £1 million worth of cars in Petrol Ped today. I think I've beaten it. So, running down then, we started off in this car, the GT12, £430,000. We then went to a V12 Vantage S Coupe, £180,000. Then we went to the Vanquish, £217,000. Then to the Vantage V8 Coupe, £120,000. Then we went into the DB9 Volante over there, very beautiful car, £162,000, and we finished off in a DB11, and they're in the region of about £190,000. You top that all up, and that is just shy of £1.3 million on Petrol Ped today. That's got to be good. That's got to be good enough to give me a thumbs up. Or put some comments below. I do need to say a huge thank you to James and Gary and the guys here at Aston Martin Chichester for letting me basically have access to all these beautiful cars today. It's been fantastic fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. But yeah, please, comments below, always welcome. Don't forget to subscribe. The more subscribers, the more cool cars I can get access to. But I'm going to basically, well actually, I wonder, there's nobody around. We have the emotion control unit for the GT12. I might just do one more cold start and leave you with the noise of the GT12. Now this could be a very silly thing to do, but could you get any closer to the startup of a GT12? I'm not so sure. Here we go. Go for it!